Hey, I'm Roy, and this is my bike. This is hopefully the first of a series of videos talking about riding again after a long break. So, yeah, here it is. Cue the intro, and there's no intro. So, how did I end up with a 2010 Honda VFR 1200F manual, which is funny, I should mention. Tell you the truth, it wasn't even on my radar when I started looking for motorcycles. But Honda was a good option. A little, in my opinion, I like them a little better than the rest of the Japanese manufacturers. But they're all great. I was looking for a sport tour that had some torque to it. Not a super sport bike because I like my back. I like to sit a little more upright, but I don't like my foot pegs to be too low to the ground. I like having the ground clearance to carve corners when I need to. My bikes, I'm kind of the sort of rider that picks its battles. I pick my spots where it's okay. Don't try to impress anyone, but when there's no one around and I can scrape a peg, I'll take the opportunity if the conditions are right. Anyway, it wasn't even on my radar because I forgot they existed. They were a sales flop. I was actually looking for a VFR 800 or a Honda Super Blackbird, because nobody thinks about those big VFRs. They're not, I don't know. But if you really think about it, what Honda did with this bike was kind of a V4 Blackbird. It is limited, to 150 something miles per hour, which, if I wanted to take it off, it would be a close to 200 mile per hour bike if I cared. But in terms of where it really matters with torque and long gears, but being able to pull at any gear at any time, like having it not matter, having a big, steady, but still big, steady bike that can eat miles, but when you do get to a twisty road, it can haul. This is it. That is the newest iteration of the Blackbird. It just happens to have a weird V4 motor in it. When I say weird, I mean weird. It has nothing to do with the Magna engine that was in all the VF series with the VFR 750, 800s, and so on. Because this particular one is a 73-degree V, which is makes kind of a weird sound. It's very quiet until you get way up in the rev range, and then it turns into something that's, I don't know, sounds close to a GP machine. Anyway, yeah, so I wanted Blackbird, and the examples that I saw, I was going for fuel injected models, so there were the later models. People wanted ridiculous money for them, and they were getting up there in age. So this is pretty much the newest bike I could get for the budget that I had. That still had the ergonomics that I wanted and the engine, displacement that I wanted. So I said, okay, let's give it a shot. I looked for one in my budget, and I found one that's been sitting for a few years, and it was under what I was going for. So I took it on as a project. I put it on the back of a truck, took it home, did a oil change, rode it around a little bit, overheated the clutch, so I flushed that out. That solved the problem. It has one lingering problem now with the shift fork on sixth gear. I can't really accelerate hard in sixth without it popping out of gear, but I don't really need that at the moment. That's for something I will fix down the line. The front forks, which were shot, I had them rebuilt, and I tuned the suspensions to my liking, which is on the firmer side. And it had enough spring, and people complain about the springs on this, but I think I can only reach their limit if I go on a track day, and that would be the one thing that slows me down. The brakes on it are phenomenal, especially considering how much this bike weighs. And yeah, as for why it was a sales flop, it was the people didn't really like it for the exact reasons that I do. It's not really a sport bike. It's too heavy to be a real sport bike. And as a Grand Tourer, it has too small of a tank. It doesn't have cruise control, which yeah, I would have liked to have cruise control. No heated grips. The wind protection is minimal, like a sport bike. So it's more of a sport bike than a touring bike, but it has the weight. I don't know where Honda put the rocks. They hide bricks in their VFR range, but all the VFRs are just a lot heavier than they should be. This one, if it was 100 pounds lighter, it would have been, you know, pretty much like a Honda Panigale. But it's not. It's not, and it has a few advantages, especially when I overtake a truck, or when I have side winds. It's much more stable than lighter bikes, um, and in terms of it has the wheelbase to be able to really use the torque, accelerate in a straight line really hard. It doesn't want to wheelie all the time, even though you are putting about 100 foot-pounds of torque into that rear tire. The front end stays planted very well, just because of the sheer length of it. That's something that has in common with the Hayabusa or a ZX14, but it's not a Hayabusa or a ZX14. It changes directions much faster, not as fast as a sport bike, but faster than a Hayabusa. So yeah, it is, to me, a gentleman's Hayabusa. Pretty much, it's the kind of bike you buy when you secretly love how Hayabusas ride, but you don't want to be a Busa boy. You don't want the culture that is tacked onto you, and when someone sees you riding one. As for, I don't know, my own personal experience riding again, I do notice my body does not react as fast as it used to. But my decision making is still getting better. I had to work on smoothness on the throttle and braking a lot. I still work on it. I still try to get smoother and smoother. I think if I keep working on it, I can get more miles out of these tires. Yeah, those are things that I have to consciously practice and get better at, and as I progress. But the decision making is pretty much where I left it off, and it keeps getting better. Decision making in terms of, I'm not as pressed to overtake everyone. As you can see, I'm following a truck right here, and I could have went fast and went, past it, but why? Like, I don't care. It doesn't matter. I have the time. Those are little things that, as the older we get, the better we get at making those little decisions and keep out of harm's way. If I wanted to go at a fast pace, I'll just go somewhere where I can find a spot and go at a fast pace over there. This is not really the spot to do it over here. I'm pretty much hovering the front wheel over these bumps. So that's why I stay on the gas. But in terms of going fast, I don't really care about going fast for the sake of going fast. I'll accelerate to pitch the bike up to wherever I want it to go, and I'll decelerate to do this, to do the opposite. As for technique, yeah, just consciously work on it. Start at a lower pace, have it smooth, and the pace will start to go up while you are relaxed. Don't stress yourself out trying to push your pace. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys. Comment, if you're planning on going back on two wheels, or if you have after a long break, what bikes were you choosing, and why? So yeah, we can start a conversation. Have a great one. All right.